my name is Goulden. You've met me before. Former Chief Inspector with the Scottish Violence Reduction Unit, now retired, delivering MVP training quite a lot in England and Wales, and supporting colleagues in America to deliver the programme. And hopefully you've listened to the initial discussions, which involved myself and my good friend and colleague Alan Heisterkamp from Iowa, and you've really started to understand a bit more about what the programme is. Just like Alan, I believe in the programme 100%. It's been part of my life for the last 10 years because I know it works. The evidence tells us it works, not only in this country, but in the United States. I've sat and watched mentors deliver sessions and been blown away by their passion, by their knowledge, and by their ability to influence younger peers within the school environment. I've been told about occasions where mentors have shown great courage to support younger pupils at the school. Things have happened that they've been able to intervene and support younger pupils at the school. And I've witnessed the change in young people, from young men and young women who were displaying problematic behaviours before getting involved in the programme, to become individuals who, after some guidance and training, can deliver and lead conversations on sometimes complicated issues. They're showing great courage and great leadership. And I've witnessed first-hand young mentors deliver well-structured awareness sessions to politicians, to professionals, to parents about what MVP is, because the young people know that they need to engage all these different bodies and different people to support them in their work. And I've used the MVP program in a prison setting, and I've observed grown men talk about their own frustrations around conforming to lots of unhealthy norms. So it's a program that I really believe in, and hope that's going to come across in the last sessions and come across in this session as well. So today I'm joined by Jason Lowther, who works at Bulwell Academy in Nottingham. I first met Jason last year whilst delivering an initial training within the Nottingham area, supported by the Nottingham Notts VRU down there. And I was working with Jason at his school and some other schools in the Notts area. And I'm aware now that Jason is really one of these people that has grasped the programme and is now running with the programme. And my first tip for anybody getting involved, we require not only the leadership in the school to really support the programme, but we require that one person who is going to drive the programme forward in the school. So Jason, welcome to this conversation. Can you just maybe start by just telling us a bit more about yourself and what you do at the school?
Okay, thanks, Graham. So as Graham's already introduced, my name is Jason Lowther. Now I'm currently a Raising Standards mentor at Bulwell Academy School. Initially was a year manager. So my role within the school is to look after a whole year group. So I've got 165 year 11 students sort of under my sort of command and workship. So and ultimately I've now been promoted to Raising Standards. As Graham mentioned, I did his course sometime last year, an MVP. Came across it by chance because another member of staff couldn't attend. And initially I was hooked straight away. Naturally, within my role, I know all of the common issues that young people, young men especially, have within our community. We're a school of around 1,000 students in quite an inner city community with its own challenges, like most communities have. And I just really was always looking for something that we could use as a model to sort of drive those important messages and sort of change the attitude and have some more healthy attitudes around some of the issues that our young people are having in school.
So let's ask the question. The first question when I ask teachers is, what challenges do you face in the school, and what challenges are young people facing in 2020 in your school and in UK society? What are the challenges? Well,
a lot similar to across school. I mean, social media is a massive problem, and I think it's a problem, and also within the training we get onto that discussion later. One of the main things that I think is the problem is we don't educate our students enough how to use social media correctly. And I think that doesn't just come from us as educators. I think it comes from from parents as well. Myself as a parent with 3 young adults, who have gone through the social media area. My youngest is 19, so she's had those situations. I've seen those problems, as a parent. And yes, I agree, it was a difficult thing to a challenge to match. So that's a big thing, social media. I think that there's still a lot of anxieties, and I know there's a lot of challenges around some anxiety issues that a lot of young people have nowadays. You know, when, as you know, if you're similar age to me, Graham, when we was younger, it wasn't such a thing out there. It wasn't a common thing. You know, anxiety and, you know, a lot of mental health issues. You know, were sort of hidden away and pushed away, and, you know, didn't want to know. And I think one of the challenges, not just for students, I think they're comfortable. Some of them are quite comfortable discussing it, especially amongst their peers. I think some of it is us as educators. I think we found it quite a challenge. I know I did, and I've had to change my own aspects and how to sort of have those conversations with students. And I think finally, and I know you've discussed it on some of your videos, and it links back to social media and some anxieties as well, is some of the you know, expectations on, you know, our young men and our young women. I know one of the big things in our school, I think we have a lot of issues with young men, but I think we've equally within our school got as many, you know, issues in terms of media expectations on young girls as well. So I think they're really the big challenges that I see.
Yeah, you know, I've talked a lot about Generation Z. That's who these young people are just now, and, you know, these are the activist generation. They're saving the planet, but these are the ones that are struggling with their mental health, and it's all about their relationships with each other, with themselves. You talked about, you know, young men growing up in a very pornified culture, sexually toxic culture, that is impacting on young women as well. So, you know, for me, I'm glad you mentioned, you know, looking at young men. But this isn't just about young men, it's every young person in the school. So the challenges you faced that you're talking about, social media, fitting in, expectations, mental health, all these issues as well. Would they be right in being saying that if we don't start to tackle and address these issues, these might impact negatively on success and attainment in the school?
Yeah, I think it's a massive issue. We don't impact on those issues. As I've already mentioned, in both genders, you know, both young boys and young girls. Because I think if we don't allow ourselves as educators as well to challenge those what we call, you know, sometimes called norms within schools, it's just going to become a bigger problem. And students, you know, as I've said, are comfortable discussing each other, but I think we need to know. I mean, I initially drove things separate slightly from MVP within our school, as I think a lot of schools might use it. It's just a one-page profile, where a student at the beginning of the year goes on and they type some things, information in there about, you know, how best to support them and what's important to them. Because I think as educators, I mean, I'm not a qualified teacher. My main role is around, you know, pastoral care and behaviour support and that side of it. But, you know, I'm lucky to be in that position. Yes, I may have quite a few students to look after. But, you know, those conversations and breaking down those barriers with those young people is important, and giving, you know, and allowing them to have a voice. And if we don't start, should I say, sort of start suppressing and allowing our young people to have those conversations, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I think the obvious question now is, you know, so why MVP? Why do you think MVP has been brought into your school, and what do you think it can do to support these challenges that you've talked about?
Yeah, I think it's the broadness, to be honest with you, Graham. You know, as you know, and I openly admit that, you know, you educated me on your training. You know, as it says, mental violence prevention. You know, I had my own perception as I did with very little knowledge on MVP when I initially went along. You know, you see the word violence, and initially you understand, you think straight away, you know, hitting physical side of violence. And I think we underestimate the emotional violence that is. You know, and there's a lot in the media at the moment around some of the issues we've got in violence, you know, due to the isolation. It's not always the physical; it's the mental, you know, strains that are being put on people, and that's both men and women, as I've said. But I think that was the killer one for me, so to speak. That's why I wanted MVP in our school. And obviously, when we went through the training, it's then how it delivers. I think the second part of that, it's not about me having those discussions with our young people. It's about, you know, training up our own students, which I've got, you know, currently got 38 trained Year 10 students. You know, 3 members of staff alongside myself who sort of, the spearhead of it, because I was looking up at our principals gave me quite a lot of freedom with this. And they're the ones that are going into the classrooms and having those discussions with their year 7 peers, and starting those discussions, and around things around pornography. They're quite open having those discussions, and around the issues that we see in our corridors. So yeah, that's one of the things for me why I chose MVP.
So you highlighted there, Jason, that your principal has given you permission. Do you think that's important for schools to get the buy-in from the leader, from the head teacher, principal? Is that important for you?
Yeah, definitely, because I think, as I've probably mentioned previously, I need that freedom, and I need that responsibility to sort of run the program, and it's just like how we expect ourselves and our young students to have those positive relationships with each other. We need to be allowed that freedom to let it grow, because one of the things I took from the MVP training that I went upon to then take away to deliver some of our students is this isn't a quick fix. This is something that needs to grow over years, and become almost a new culture within school. We're trying to drive at Ball Academy a new ethos. We've got a new umbrella trust at the moment.